Today, we're talking about something most men overlook until it's too late. Why a woman will only truly respect you when you detach completely. What does that mean? It means pulling back your energy, your attention, and your emotional dependence when you sense her losing respect. Detachment isn't about ignoring her for no reason or playing childish games. It's about understanding that respect in a relationship comes from strength, self-control, and having the courage to walk away if needed. Here's the reality. When you're too available, too accommodating, or too invested in someone who's pulling away, you tip the balance of power against yourself. She feels it. She sees that you're prioritizing her over your own life, and that's when respect starts to fade. The alpha mindset is about showing, not telling, that you value yourself above anyone's temporary emotions. Detachment is powerful because it resets the dynamic. When you stop chasing and start living fully for yourself, you trigger something primal in her. She begins to wonder what changed, why she doesn't have the same control over your attention, and that's when the respect you thought was lost starts to return. This isn't about manipulation. It's about boundaries. You're not punishing her, you're protecting your dignity. A man who knows when to detach communicates that he's not afraid to be alone, that he won't beg for affection, and that he sees himself as the prize. In this video, we'll break down exactly why detachment commands respect, how to do it without turning cold-hearted, and how it transforms not just your relationships, but your confidence as a man. If you've ever felt like you were losing your grip in a relationship or being taken for granted, what you're about to hear might just change how you carry yourself forever. 1. Why chasing kills? Her respect instantly. One of the biggest mistakes men make in relationships is believing that the harder they chase, the more she'll love them. It's the opposite. The moment you start chasing, you flip the dynamic from being the man she values to being the man she manages. When you chase, you send a clear message without even realizing it. She's the prize, and you're trying to earn her. This immediately lowers your value in her eyes. Women are naturally drawn to men who stand in their own worth, men who don't need to seek approval or validation from anyone. The second you put her on a pedestal, she starts looking down. Think about it. The more available you make yourself, the less she feels the need to work for your attention. It's human nature to value what's rare and to take for granted what's always there. If you're texting her constantly, rearranging your schedule just to see her, or overcompensating to keep her interested, you're training her to believe she doesn't have to do much to keep you around. And if she doesn't have to work for it, she won't respect it. Chasing also creates pressure, and pressure kills attraction. When she feels you're trying to win her over at all costs, it doesn't come across as love. It comes across as desperation. Desperation is the opposite of confidence, and confidence is the foundation of respect. The alpha approach is simple. You lead, she follows. That doesn't mean you never initiate or show interest, but you never overinvest in someone who isn't matching your energy. If she pulls back, you don't chase, you slow down too. If she becomes distant, you don't blow up her phone, you give her space to come to you. When you stop chasing, you're no longer sending the signal that she's the center of your world. You're showing that you have your own life, your own priorities, and your own standards. This shifts her perspective. Suddenly, she realizes your attention isn't guaranteed. And that's when she starts putting in effort to earn it again. Remember, women respect men who are willing to walk away from anything that lowers their value. Chasing is the fastest way to lower it. If you want her respect, stop running after her and start running after your goals, your mission, and your growth. That's when she'll start running after you. Mission and your growth. That's when she'll start running after you. 2. The power of walking away without warning. If you've ever watched The Dark Knight, there's a scene where the Joker tells Batman, "You have nothing to threaten me with." That's the essence of power in relationships. When you're not afraid to walk away, you become untouchable. Walking away without warning is one of the strongest moves a man can make when he's losing a woman's respect. It's not about punishing her, it's about making a statement without saying a word. I will not fight for a place where I'm not valued. The surprise element is what makes it so powerful. When a man starts warning her that he's about to leave, or constantly complains about how she's treating him, he's essentially begging her to change. That's not strength, that's negotiation from a position of weakness. The moment she senses you won't actually leave, you've already lost the leverage. But when you quietly detach and walk away without any long emotional speeches, you shift the narrative completely. She expected you to keep chasing, to keep proving yourself. Instead, you show her you can disappear from her life without hesitation. That's when the shock hits her. It's like a movie scene where the hero turns his back and walks away from an explosion, not even looking back. That image sticks. It makes her wonder, how can he be so calm? Doesn't he care? Was I not as important to him as I thought? Those questions start to eat at her, and respect begins to grow again. The key here is control. Walking away without warning isn't about being cold or cruel. It's about maintaining your dignity. It's about saying, my self-worth is not up for debate. You're not making a scene because men of value don't need to prove their point with theatrics. And here's the twist. When you leave without warning, she doesn't have the satisfaction of a dramatic goodbye where she gets to play the victim. She's left with the silence, the unanswered questions, and the realization that she might have underestimated you. That's a position of power no argument can create. Men who master this understand one truth. Respect is tied to unpredictability. When she knows you're capable of leaving the moment she stops adding value, she has to keep showing up. If she doesn't, she knows you won't be there. In the end, walking away without warning isn't about ending the relationship. Sometimes it's about resetting it. But whether you return or not, the point has been made. You're not a man who clings to something that isn't serving him. And that's the kind of man women never forget. 3. How scarcity makes you more valuable. Imagine your favorite coffee shop. You walk in every morning, the barista knows your order, and your drink is ready in minutes. It's comfortable. It's predictable. Now, one day you show up and there's a sign. Closed for renovations. Reopens in 2 weeks. Suddenly, you miss it more than you ever thought you would. You start craving that exact flavor, that exact atmosphere. The fact that it's not available every day makes you appreciate it on a whole new level. That's scarcity at work. The same principle applies to relationships. When you make yourself constantly available, always texting back within seconds, always free to hang out, always putting her needs before yours, you become like that coffee shop that's open 24/7. Convenient? Yes, but taken for granted. She doesn't have to earn your time or attention because she knows it's always there. Scarcity changes everything. When you pull back and create space, you give her the chance to miss you. And missing you is what makes her value you. You're no longer a constant background presence. You become something rare, something she has to work for. Think about how people treat limited edition items. A pair of shoes that's always in stock gets ignored, but release them in small quantities, and suddenly everyone's lining up overnight to get a pair. The scarcity creates demand. It's not manipulation, it's human psychology. The alpha male understands that his time, energy, and attention are premium resources. He doesn't hand them out to just anyone, and he doesn't make them endlessly available to someone who's not reciprocating. He has his own priorities, his own mission, and his own standards. Scarcity also communicates self-respect. When you're not always available, you're showing that your life is full, your schedule is meaningful, and your attention is earned, not given away for free. This isn't about ignoring her on purpose or playing games. It's about living a life so rich and engaging that you can't drop everything at a moment's notice just because she calls. And here's the beauty of it. When you make yourself scarce, the time you do spend together becomes more special. It's like that coffee shop reopening after 2 weeks. Now she's fully present, fully engaged, because she knows it's not something she can take lightly. So ask yourself, are you giving away your presence like an all-you-can-eat buffet? Or are you treating it like a fine dining experience that needs to be reserved in advance? The answer will determine not just her level of respect, but the way she values your role in her life. 4. The silent shift that makes her rethink everything. Most men believe the way to fix a relationship when things start going downhill is to talk it out. They want to sit her down, explain their feelings, and convince her to see their worth. But here's the harsh reality. The more you talk, the more power you lose. Why? Because in many cases, women don't lose respect because of what you say, but because of what you do. Words can be comforting, but actions speak louder. And when she's already pulling away, your words are often just noise. The silent shift is about making a change without announcing it. No warnings, no "we need to talk," no dramatic exits. You simply stop giving her the version of you that chases, over-explains, and tries to win her back. Instead, you become quieter, more focused on your life, and less emotionally available. This is controversial because most people are conditioned to believe that communication is the key to everything, but in male-female dynamics, over-communication during moments of lost attraction usually backfires. She already knows how you feel, she just isn't feeling it back. And no amount of pleading or explaining can reignite attraction. When you create the silent shift, she notices the difference. You're not cold or rude, but you're no longer pouring all your energy into her. You've redirected it toward yourself, your goals, your body, your mission, your growth. And here's the psychological twist. Silence forces reflection. When you stop reacting, she has space to actually miss the way things used to be. She starts wondering why you're not chasing, why you're not as available, why you seem content without her attention. That uncertainty works in your favor because it changes the dynamic from you seeking her validation to her seeking yours. The silent shift is not a game, it's a decision. You're choosing not to waste energy where it's not appreciated. And ironically, that's often when she starts valuing it again. This is why some men experience a strange phenomenon. They stop trying so hard, and suddenly she's texting more, showing up, and even apologizing. It's not magic, it's psychology. People always value what they're at risk of losing. So instead of telling her you're going to change, be the change. Stop announcing your next move and let your absence speak for you. Because the moment you stop explaining yourself is the moment she starts explaining to herself why she wants you back. Is the moment she starts explaining to herself why she wants you back. 5. When less attention creates more desire. Think about the most exciting games in sports. Whether it's basketball, football, or boxing, the crowd's energy spikes when the game is close, unpredictable, and every move matters. If one team completely dominates from start to finish, the suspense dies. The game becomes boring because the outcome is too obvious. Relationships work the same way. When you give a woman constant attention, affection, and availability, she knows the outcome, she has all of you, all the time, and there's no challenge left. Just like a one-sided game, there's no excitement, and without excitement, desire fades. Less attention isn't about neglecting her or playing cruel games. It's about keeping the dynamic alive by not giving everything away at once. When you're selective with your time and focus, you create a sense of anticipation. She starts to look forward to when she does get your attention because it feels earned, not guaranteed. In sports, the best athletes understand pacing. They don't burn all their energy in the first quarter. They pick their moments to attack, to defend, to make the crowd roar. As a man, you need to adopt that same mindset in relationships. You can't always be on for her. You have to have moments where you pull back, focus on yourself, and let her wonder what's occupying your time and mind. Here's the confidence builder. A man who doesn't smother a woman with attention is a man who believes in his own value. He knows he doesn't need to constantly be in her face to keep her interested. He trusts that what he brings to the table is strong enough that she'll want more, even when he's not actively giving it. When you learn to give less attention strategically, you stop coming across as needy or desperate. You show that you have a life worth living outside of her, and that's magnetic. Just like a championship team that's confident in their game plan, you're not scrambling for her approval, you're playing at your pace, and here's the kicker. When she realizes your attention isn't infinite, she begins to work for it. She'll dress a little nicer, talk to you more sweetly, and put in effort to get your eyes back on her. That's not manipulation. That's the natural result of scarcity meeting value. So ask yourself, are you playing the relationship like a boring blowout, giving her the win before the game even starts? Or are you making it exciting, unpredictable, and worth showing up for? Because the less attention you give, the more she'll crave it, just like the final seconds of a tied game when every point matters. 6. Turning cold, without becoming heartless. There's a fine line between detaching for self-respect and turning into a man who's emotionally frozen. Many men fear that pulling back means they have to become cold, cruel, or completely unfeeling. That's not what true strength is about. Turning cold in the right way isn't about shutting off your humanity. It's about controlling who gets access to your warmth. The first step is understanding that not everyone is entitled to your full emotional investment. If a woman starts to take you for granted, pulling away is a way of protecting your energy, not punishing her. You're not trying to make her suffer. You're making sure you don't drain yourself for someone who isn't meeting you halfway. That's not being heartless. That's being healthy. When you turn cold, it's not about ignoring her existence or giving her the silent treatment out of spite. It's about shifting your focus back to yourself. You become less available for meaningless small talk, less eager to drop everything to accommodate her, and more invested in your goals, your friends, your fitness, and your growth. The absence of constant attention sends a message. Your world does not revolve around her anymore. The key is to remain respectful. If she reaches out, you respond. But on your time, not instantly like before. You keep your tone calm, not bitter. You avoid arguments because arguments are still a form of emotional investment. Instead, you show through your actions that you're no longer dependent on her validation. This shift can be powerful because it's subtle. She'll notice that you're less emotionally available, but you're not hostile. You're simply living your life in a way that doesn't center around her approval. That balance keeps you from crossing into resentment, which would only drain you further. Over time, this controlled coldness builds an image of you as a man who values himself. It shows that you don't allow emotions to dictate your actions. You can still be kind, you can still be polite, but you're no longer emotionally exposed to someone who hasn't earned it. And ironically, that's often when she starts chasing the warmth she once took for granted. In the end, turning cold without becoming heartless is about setting a tone, calm, controlled, and self-focused. You're not shutting the door forever, you're simply making sure it doesn't swing open for anyone who doesn't treat what's inside with respect. That's not cruelty. That's self-respect with discipline. 7. Making detachment your permanent advantage. Detachment isn't just a tactic you pull out when things go wrong. It's a lifestyle. The man who makes detachment his permanent advantage is the man who can't be manipulated, can't be guilt-tripped, and can't be broken by temporary emotions. True detachment doesn't mean you don't care about women, relationships, or love. It means you refuse to attach your sense of worth to them. Whether she stays or goes, whether she loves you or loses interest, you remain steady. That stability is what makes you powerful, because power comes from not needing the outcome to validate you. When detachment becomes who you are, everything changes. You stop fearing loss because you've accepted that nothing is truly permanent. You stop overreacting to small shifts in her mood because you no longer live at the mercy of her approval. You become grounded, and grounded men are the hardest to shake. The beauty of making detachment a permanent advantage is that it works in every area of life. In business, it keeps you from making desperate decisions. In friendships, it protects you from one-sided loyalty. And in relationships, it keeps the balance of respect firmly in your corner. The key is internal focus. A man who's permanently detached has a life so full, so purpose-driven, that no single person can become his emotional center. He has goals to chase, skills to master, a body to strengthen, a mind to sharpen. Women may be part of his life, but they are never the sole reason for it. This doesn't make you cold or unloving. In fact, it makes you more attractive. Why? because people can feel when your happiness is self-sustained. It makes your attention worth more because it's clear you don't give it out of desperation, but choice. A woman respects a man far more when she knows he can live without her, yet chooses to be with her. Detachment also frees you from the emotional roller coaster that destroys so many men. You no longer chase highs and lows based on how she's acting that day. You don't panic if she's distant, and you don't over-celebrate when she's overly affectionate. You stay in control because you're anchored in yourself, not her behavior. And here's the ultimate truth. When you master detachment, you flip the script. You're no longer hoping she chooses you. She's hoping you continue to choose her. That's the position of strength every man should be in. So make detachment more than a momentary reaction. Make it your default setting. Build a life so rich that losing anyone doesn't shake you. Because when you can walk away at any time, you're not just in control of the relationship. You're in control of your life. Detachment isn't about being cold. It's about being in control. A woman will always respect the man who values himself enough to walk away from disrespect, neediness, or emotional games. When you stop chasing, create scarcity, and shift your focus back to your mission, you become magnetic. She sees that your worth doesn't depend on her, and that's when respect and desire return. Make detachment a way of life, not just a reaction, and you'll never be at the mercy of someone else's choices. In the end, the man who can leave at any time is the man who truly wins.